Jai Gurudev. So, is everybody up to speed now? Yeah, and last week we went through the whole story. Did you have any questions about the story or any in-between knowledge points? Yeah.
So on page 277, he talks about enough of even such inquiry which leads to nothing. Can you talk about those 2-3 sentences there?
First we'll read the whole paragraph. Yeah. Page 277, the first paragraph. Rudra continued to recollect this. Surely it is because of one's inner conviction, this body is myself, that this unreal perception expands. If one were to inquire into its true nature, one would find that nothing remained. So that is the first part. That means through the path of self-inquiry, you can reach that nothingness. Yeah, that line again. If one were to inquire into its true nature, one would find that nothing remained. Got it? This is the path of Jnana Yoga. Yeah? Self-inquiry is Jnana Yoga. If my self-inquiry does not lead me to nothingness, it is of no use. So there are 3 paths: Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. Path of Jnana Yoga is self-inquiry. You inquire into the reality of who I am. What is this body? What is this mind? What is this intellect? Who is this ego that keeps saying I? This is self-inquiry. If self-inquiry doesn't begin on our own, we take the help of scriptures. These scriptures have a purpose. That purpose is to kindle that spark within me of self-inquiry, where then I start my individual personal journey. Understood? If Jnana has not done that to you, then Jnana has not served its purpose. Lots of people love to come on the Jnana Yoga path because they are inherently intellectuals. Yeah, they love analysis, they love, dissection of words, they like logic. But if you get stuck only in dissection of words, it is called buddhi vilas. Yeah, means your intellect is going for a walk in the garden. It's of no use. Yeah, so jnana must lead to that nothingness that he's talking about. If one seriously inquired into his own self, he would reach nothingness. What is the meaning of this nothingness?
Neti, right? You strip off all the other things.
Yeah, so finally in this nothingness, what do you reach?
Brahman.
Through this nothingness when it happens, automatically what happens to you? You go into meditation, dhyana. Got it? If jnana does not take you to dhyana, then it has not served its purpose. Then it is just buddhi vilas. Understand this? Yeah? So before we go ahead, homework number 1 for you. Has jnana led you to dhyana? Or are you still doing buddhi vilas? Are you just interested in intellectual absorption and really not interested in experiencing that peace that comes with jnana? Yeah? Otherwise you are really eating the peel of the banana and throwing the pulp away if you're doing that. So check. Homework number 1. Yeah, so this nothingness remains. But for some people, direct dhyana works. They don't need too much jnana. For some people, jnana works, which takes them directly into dhyana. Different kinds of people. Clear so far? Now let's see what Rudra says. He says, enough of even such inquiry which leads to nothing. This world is an optical illusion like the blueness of the sky. It is ignorance. Only when you do this self-inquiry do you even come to this understanding that everything is futile. Everything is ignorance. Ignorance is Maya. Yeah? Everything is Maya. When will you come to this understanding? Only when you start this path of self-inquiry. Take your mind back to who you were 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Did you see this world as Maya? No. It was not ignorance at all. Yeah? So, if you have started seeing this world as little bit also of Maya and started understanding how the power of Maya works on you, then you have really started this journey of self-inquiry. Yeah? But now a point comes where this self-inquiry needs to be dropped and you need to drown into this nothingness. Yeah? Because this self-inquiry is about what? Is about this illusionary body, about this illusionary mind, illusionary intellect, illusionary ego. All a creation, a figment of my own imagination. Beyond the point, how much self-inquiry can I do? When I realize it is all Maya. This also is Maya. I drop this and I just go within. Yeah, so that's what is coming up. Enough of even this effort to purify that ignorance. If this world appearance, which is unreal, continues to appear, let it. It can do no harm. I shall retrace the chain of imaginary transformations and restore their underlying unity. Basically, what he went into, a very deep state of meditation where he went back into the past and saw all the past Rudras. Now he is Rudra. So he saw all the past Rudras. When you go deep into dhyana, you will automatically see all your past lives. Why? It's very simple. I don't think I've spoken about this before. But what really limits a human? It is this body. This body is Prakriti. It's a combination of earth, water, fire, air and ether. Yeah? In the most gross combination of earth, water, fire, air and ether, I am stuck. This is my limitation. Yeah? When I move on to a higher birth, yeah, if I have done good karmas enough, I will move to a higher loka. If I move on to a higher birth, what is the difference between that higher birth and this birth? We did this in Upanishad. There will not be a physical body. You will just be in your subtle body. That is the difference. Yeah? So your biggest obstacle is actually this physical body, which you really love so much and which you call I. You identify with it. It's actually a big obstacle on your path. It is also a creation of Maya, so that you get so attached to it that you don't even think about anything higher than that. Yeah? But there is a higher realm of existence. So when I go to that higher realm of existence, the difference is that I break out of the bondage of the combination of earth, water, fire, air and ether in its most gross form. Yeah? What happens to you in meditation? For a few fractions of seconds, maybe it is happening to you right now. For the lucky ones, it's happening in minutes. You withdraw from this physical body and you're completely in that subtle body. Completely. That's why even if the leg is hurting, you don't remember. If there is some noise, you can't hear. Yeah? If there's some movement around in the room, you don't perceive it. Why? You're totally inside, absorbed somewhere deeper. You have dropped this physical body. Yeah? Happens in the deepest of meditations. That state is equivalent to the birth of a higher realm. And understand what is it? It is just something that you're dropping this body. This earth, water, fire, ether, air combination is being dropped. And I am just going within. A deeper step happens. Yeah, you withdraw even from that subtle body, because that subtle body is nothing but thoughts and emotions. A moment comes when you're not even there. You've withdrawn much deeper into the core of your heart. And there you're absolutely silent, in nothingness. Yeah? What does that mean? Past and future is dropped. Because past and future belongs to this earth, water, fire, ether, air combination. It does not belong to the subtle body. It does not belong to the causal body. Understood? So in your deepest of meditation, because this past and future walls are dropped, you can see everything as a continuum. There is no separation. Got it? Yeah. So that's why it's a very normal thing to see your past lives. That's exactly what Rudra did. Yeah. He started on the Gyan Marga and he then dived into Dhyana. He did not just hang on to words. He realized that the words have a meaning to a certain point. After that point, they are futile. They need to be dropped and I need to move on. But if I don't drop it, I have made those words from the scripture a dam. And it is blocking my own progress. You see what I'm saying? Don't build a dam with jnana. Lots of people make this mistake on the path of Jnana Yoga. Yeah? It only becomes an intellectual game. And it's really, there is no sincerity in actually going deeper into dhyana. Practice means going deeper into dhyana. Clear? Yeah? So he moved from jnana into dhyana, saw his past lives. Now I'm not reading the rest of the page. He saw his past lives, and when you see those past lives, you realize, oh, this is so silly. Yeah, I was attached to this thing or this person or this situation, and that raga from that past life drops off. That person that you were in the past life suddenly becomes awakened or enlightened. Then you go one more life beyond, and the same happens. Some raga or dvesha drops off. Yeah. So this is a process that happens, and that is exactly what the eternity process that we do in Art of Living, the past life process, it gives you a glimpse of what really you can achieve through your own meditation. Yeah. So those who have not done it, do it and see really what potential I have, where can I reach, and then If you have to really strive for something, strive for achieving that. Getting to that point where in my meditation I'm so hollow and empty that the division between past and future drops off and it all becomes one continuum. Yeah, takes effort.
This weekend in Cincinnati, a lot of people are doing it.
Oh, good. Excellent, very nice. Yeah, those who've not enrolled, enroll. I didn't even know about it, guys. Yeah. So see, get a glimpse of what you can achieve in your own meditation. Okay? Clear? Answered your question? Okay. Any other question? No questions on these 2 pages, 3 pages story? On page 276, in the middle of the page, however, every subsequent action is more powerful than a previous act. Did you understand this? Check in your own life. I think you take a simple example which everybody must have done. Everybody wants to lose weight. Even if you just want to lose 5 pounds, everybody wants to lose at least those 5 pounds. You know? So you set a goal usually for yourself. Okay, I want to lose this much weight. Yeah, let's take for convenience sake. You say in your head, my goal is 125 pounds or 120 pounds, whatever. In my head, I make this goal. I start working. And then I get really tired and I'm working hard and I'm really dieting and I'm going through that rigorous thing and I'm avoiding those chocolates, though I want to really eat, and that pizza and whatever, that ghee. I'm doing all this. Then after a few days you say, you know what, even if I make it to 130, it's good enough. What happens the moment I have said this in my head? Even if I go back to no, but my original goal is 125. At a subtle level, I have kind of emotionally hypnotized myself that now my goal is 130, I'm going to take this one away. And you will really work only till 130. You will not even manage to go to 129.5. It will not happen. How many of you have experienced something like this? Yeah, I just gave you an example of losing weight. I don't know. This happens in everything in life. You set one thing and then after a few days you say, you know what, no, this much, itna bhi mila to bhi theek hai. The moment you say itna bhi mila theek hai na, it overrides your previous goal, your previous action. Yeah, it can happen in the terms of whatever, name, fame, money, position, yeah, power, whatever. Number of participants in a course. First you say I want 15. Or even if 10 come here, it's more than enough. Really, only 10 will land up. 15 don't come. Yeah, think about your own personal examples. Yeah, it's always like this. Every subsequent action is more powerful than a previous act. Yeah? Very, he just pushed it in, into the story, but this is a very potent line. Yeah? So homework number 2 for you. Yeah? You think where this has really happened to you in life, where a subsequent action has actually wiped off my previous act.
It could also be something like a relapse, right? Like, like addicts have this. I'll give a personal example. Like when I came from India last year, I was like, I won't eat sugar. And then when I started eating sugar, I really started eating sugar.
Yeah, so same thing, no?
More suppress, like the more you suppress, the after effect of that is always a volcanic.
Absolutely. Yeah. So always a second act overrides the first. Okay, act here, what he means by action is basically an impression. Karma samskara is the real word, okay? English may, by the time it gets translated into English, its meaning changes. It is basically a karma samskara. Every time I have an intention, I want to do this that I really choose, that moment I have planted that seed. That is a karma samskara. And that karma samskara obviously gets wiped off by another karma samskara that comes in the future. The future one overrides the past one. So now an important thing. You always ask, no, how meditation wipes away old karmas? If I have a karma of anger, of hatred towards person A, and I meditate, this meditation is the subsequent act. This knowledge that I'm doing is that subsequent act. I listen to some knowledge where Guruji talks about forgiving people, letting go of anger, dropping that hatred. That, that seed goes and overrides this initial karma samskara. That initial karma samskara goes away. It's almost wiped off. And this takes precedence. That's how the karma samskara of meditation and knowledge takes away my previous bad karma. Clear? He's emphasized it again in the third line after that. Surely the more powerful thought form overwhelms the weaker one. Then in course of time and on account of persistent contemplation, he became a king. So that is the part of the story. It's always the new thought will always override the old thought. So even if you had ill will for a person, okay, in the past, but now you have developed compassion, it overrides that and it takes that ill will away. So somebody asked me the other day that I used to eat non-veg and I have killed a lot of people, but after listening to your talk, I've stopped eating meat. But I still feel, what about those animals that died because of me? And I'm feeling guilty. So I told him exactly this thing, that this new action, this new karma samskara of yours of not eating meat has overridden that old one. I'm not saying that totally the old one has gone and will never bear its fruit. If it was some very strong gory karma related to killing animals or eating meat, it might come, but its effect is dampened by this one. And we're going to study these karmas in detail this weekend. So those who have not enrolled can enroll for the karma and death weekend also. This coming weekend. Clear? That part is clear? And there is one sentence, the last sentence on that page 276. When the jiva by coincidence comes into contact with an enlightened person, then its impure vasana or tendencies turn away. This is very important. So a person like Gurudev, a person who is enlightened, whose sattva has raised so high, that even if I am rajasic or tamasic, he acts like a magnet and pulls me up. That is why when you go into a satsang or you go into Guruji's kutir or You know, whenever you are in that sattvic environment, you feel very good. Though before that, just before that, you must have felt really horrible. Yeah. But what happened? These tendencies, they just turn away. Yeah. This happens to that person who constantly longs for such contact. So there is a condition. It does not happen to everybody. Yeah. So you remember, I think 2 sessions ago we did notion leads to manifestation. If I have a strong longing to walk the spiritual path, it will manifest. If I have a strong longing to achieve something higher than this material world, it will manifest. Got it? So somewhere you had the thirst for a guru, for a master, and that's how the enlightened came into your life. You attract by your notion. That is why it does not happen to everybody, because they didn't have that. Yeah. If you don't have that notion and your neighbor is pushing you, no boss, do it, but I don't want to do it. Yeah. It does not work, and you feel that why is it not working for him where it is working for me? Understand this very basic dynamic working at a subtle level. You have a notion, and that notion has manifested in your life. Not necessarily it is going to manifest in your friends or neighbor's life. Are you seeing this? Yeah.
So this, sorry, go ahead.
Can we see this from the point of a dream as well? Because whatever you dream is something that you have already had a notion of.
Absolutely.
Whether it's last thought before you sleep or whether it's an experience. But anyway, it's your dream. You're driving it. You're inventing it as you go along.
Perfect example. Perfect example. Life is nothing but a dream. Yeah. I dream exactly what my raga is or my dvesha is during the entire day. Little raga for gulab jamun, I did not get time to go to the store and buy that gulab jamun. I am eating it in my dream. So I already created the notion during my daytime, and the manifestation happened in my dream. Exactly, that's what happens in life. Whatever is around you is a manifestation of your own notions. He will elaborate more in the next few pages about the same. Yeah. So even before we go there, homework number 3, make a list of everything that comes to your mind that, oh, this manifested in my life because few years ago I had this notion. Think about it. Yeah. Even a small thing like you have lost 10 pounds. You had that notion 5 years ago, and then it manifested after a few years. Yeah. If it's a small thing like a not so happy thing where you get fired from a job, you had the notion. The notion may be in the form of a fear. This should not happen to me. This should not happen to me. This should not happen to me. This is too good to be true. This should not happen to me. Finished. After a few years, it happens. Notion does not understand your English. It does not understand what language you're speaking in. It just understands you attracting or repelling that energy. It does not even understand the force of attraction or repulsion. It just understands you and that particular event. So it manifests in your life. Are you seeing what I'm saying? So make a list of all the manifestations related to your job, related to your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance, yeah, whoever, whatever has manifested in your life. See that you had a notion, that is why that thing happened. And you know what this exercise will help you do? You tell me, what will it help you? What will it help you with? Tell me.
We sometimes voluntarily let notions happen. So this will give a glimpse into the power of our attention and the notion manifesting.
Perfect. Perfect. That's one. Yeah, it will give you the understanding how powerful my notions are. So even when a little fear comes up, immediately you will say, oh, it's silly, and drop it, rather than nurture it by adding more fuel to the fire, saying, oh, what if this happens and what if that happens and then this and then that. And this dreaming that we do, yeah, daydreaming and castles in the air that we form are nothing but notions, and you're making your notion stronger. Yeah, so one, it will help you recognize the power of a notion and help you drop the notion. And number two, what else will it help you do? No? Very important thing it will help you with.
Raga Dvesha, whatever, Raga Dvesha, it will manifest definitely, so you are aware of that, and do not get into that loop again.
Beautiful. So that only, again, recognizing the power of the notion. That is a part of either it's my raga or my dvesha. I just let it go. That's perfect. The second part, the most important part is I will stop blaming other people, situations and things in life for whatever happened in my past. If I recognize, oh, I got fired because I kept fearing, so my notion led to the manifestation. So I will stop blaming my boss. That moment my hatred will drop. Oh, it is my notion. Yeah? Similarly, you will stop blaming your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. You'll stop fighting with your husband or wife or blaming people, because you will recognize whatever has happened in life has been a result of my little notion, and that manifested into this big thing. Got it? So very sincerely do this homework. Each one of you has to write down one notion and manifestation at least and email it to me. I'm waiting for everybody's email. Yeah? Seriously do this exercise. Whatever has happened to me is because of my own notion. The other person is not to be blamed.
Can I ask a question? Are passing thoughts also considered as notions?
If I hold on to a passing thought. Now there are two types of passing thought. A thought can come, it hovers around. I don't give it attention, it goes away.
Right.
Yeah. There's another thought that comes, but I have some kind of a raga or dvesha and I hold it. And then I want to keep holding, keep talking about it, an internal dialogue is going on. Either I like it, or I don't like it. That like and dislike inside keeps this, this tug of war going on. And that is nothing but a notion building up. Are you getting this? Yeah. Notion is my own concept, my own internal idea that I developed from that first thought that came. Understand why those thoughts come also. In the first place, these thoughts have come because of my karma. Otherwise, why can't all of us have the same thoughts coming at the same time? Did you ever think like that? Though we are all sitting in the same Yoga Vasistha class, we are listening to the same things, but all of us are thinking all different things. If we had 10 heads here, 10,000 different thoughts we've had in 1 minute, all of us. And they are all different from each other. Yeah? So if a thought is coming to me, that hovering thought is also because of my past karma. My past karma is nothing but the past conditioning of my mind and my intellect. That is what has propelled such a thought to even hover. Yeah? Let it come, let it go. The wise people are the ones who do not start an internal dialogue with these thoughts. The wise ones are those who recognize I am not the mind and I don't have to indulge. It is my tool. I am not the mind's tool. When you become very, very clear and firm about this, then this mind becomes weaker and falls off one day. Understood?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? So, do not give over importance to every thought that comes. Filter. Learn to filter. Yeah? And this has to be an exercise that I have to do on myself. Nobody else outside can help me with it. Only I can really work on myself. So take this up as a homework. Filter every thought. When you start filtering every thought, you decide which thought becomes a notion and which one does not become a notion. You become the master. Yeah? Somebody else was asking me a question. Yeah.
Where does Sakshi Bhav comes into play in all this?
This is all a part of Sakshi Bhav only, no? When I am seeing my mind and I'm seeing those thoughts, yeah, I'm observing, I'm filtering, yeah, and then I am letting the correct thought come in and I am working on that if required. Yeah. The whole process will happen only if I am a Sakshi. If I am not a Sakshi, to begin with only I am the mind then. I am the body. I am totally lost. Yeah. So this step only is after you have withdrawn, become established in Sakshi, then only can you take this step. I'm just assuming you are there already. Let's read this one page. It's on the same lines. Notion and manifestation. Who's reading? Page 278.
I can read.
Okay.
Vasistha continued. All of them attained awakening of their spiritual consciousness along with Lord Rudra. Realizing that they were part of Rudra, they were happy. Rudra saw the play of Maya as it arose, and he inspired the others to play their roles in it once again, commanding them to return to him after such seemingly independent existence, and assuring them at the end of the world cycle they would reach the supreme state. Rudra then vanished from sight, and Jivata and others returned to their respective abodes. Rama asked, were Jivata and the others not merely dream objects, imaginary entities of the mendicant? How could they become real entities? Vasistha replied, abandon the notion that imagination is something real. When thus the illusoriness of the illusion is abandoned, what exists in the infinite when thus illusoriness of illusion is abandoned, what exists in the infinite consciousness. What is seen in dream and what is imagined to be real appear as such at all times. Even as to a traveler, the temporal and the spatial experiences are real relative to the different places. In the heart of that infinite consciousness, everything exists, and one experiences what one sees in it. The dreamlike nature of thought form is realized only by the intense practice of yoga, not otherwise. It is by such practice that Lord Shiva and others perceive everything everywhere. That which is in front of you and at the same time apprehended by your mind is not realized if there is misapprehension in such perception or in such existence. Only when such misapprehension does not exist can that object be known and realized. Whatever one wishes is obtained only when one's inner being is wholly and solely devoted to it. He who is thus totally devoted to what is in front of him knows it perfectly. He who is totally devoted to an imaginary object knows it perfectly. If such one-pointed devotion is not there, then he destroys that object, is not aware of it. It is thus by such one-pointed devotion that the mendicant became Rudra and all the rest of it. Each one of them had his own world. Hence, until the Rudra consciousness was awakened in them, they were unaware of each other, of one another. It was in fact by the will of Rudra they were thus veiled, that they became of different forms and nature. It is by one-pointed contemplation of may I become a celestial or may I become a learned man, and as the fruit of such contemplation that one is enabled to become one or many or an ignoramus or a man of knowledge. It is possible by concentration and meditation to become a divinity or a human being and function accordingly.
Yeah, this is on the same exact lines. Yeah, notion and manifestation. So the first paragraph I'll just skip. It is the story. Yeah. I'll start with Vasistha's answer. Abandon the notion that imagination is something real. When thus the illusoriness of illusion is abandoned, what exists in the infinite consciousness. What is seen in dream and what is imagined to be real appear as such at all times. Even as to a traveler, the temporal and spatial experiences are real relative to the different places. In the heart of that infinite consciousness, everything exists and one experiences what one sees in it. This is the most important line. One experiences what one sees in it. Suppose we all go for a movie. Yeah? We all watch the same movie. Whatever, comedy, tragedy, whatever you want to imagine. We watch the same movie, but we take back all our own understanding from that movie, our own way of thinking about it. Yeah? And we go back home and we probably, all of us, let's hypothetically imagine we all see the same movie in our dreams again. Will we see the same thing? Will all the images in everybody's dream match? No. Are you seeing this? One experiences what one sees in it. One person may hook onto one tragedy scene. The other person hooks onto a comedy scene. The third person hooks onto some song, some music. A fourth person hooks onto an action scene. Because you relate with that particular scene or with that particular hero or heroine or song or whatever causes that spark, that tingle in you. Yeah, that only is what you take back. That is all that you have seen really. Yeah, and that is why all our dreams of the same movie, yeah, the hypothetical situation, we all dream of the same movie. The same people dreaming about the same movie will dream about all different things. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Yeah. So whatever you see in life, you experience it. In that 3-hour movie, you saw that one thing and you experienced that in your dream. In your dream, have you noticed? You experience it as if it's happening to you. If it's a fearful thing, your heart is pounding. Yeah, if it is romance, you feel all butterflies and whatever, hearts in the air. Yeah, if it is action, you're actually really fighting like Superman over there. Yeah, so only what you take back in your life, that is what you experience. Whatever has happened in your life is whatever you have asked for. Whether sukha or dukkha doesn't matter. You have experienced exactly what you see life as. If you see life as dukkha, finished, your life is going to be full of dukkha. Whatever you see life as, you will experience life like that. You will attract that into your life. Yeah? We've studied law of attraction. This is a deeper dive into that. Yeah? So, if you have dukkha in your life, please stop blaming the other person. That dukkha is because you attracted it. Yeah? Similarly, if there is sukha in life, you have attracted it. Yeah? You experience only what you see life as.
Can what you see be changed? If so, how?
With wisdom, with this recognition, oh, I have brought this onto me. Yeah? Let me drop all this negativity and focus more in knowledge. Probably if knowledge doesn't work for such a person, focus more on seva. Seva works for most of the people, at least doing something for somebody else. Yeah, selflessness. Seva doesn't work, bhakti will work. Some way, move yourself, steer yourself away from that negativity, because you have surrounded yourself with negativity. And there are people, who move themselves out of negativity and really change their lives. So it is very possible. Yeah? You just recognize, oh, I have notion 1, notion 2, notion 3, notion 4. All these 4 have manifested as this dukkha in my life. Now go one level deeper. Why do I have this notion? Maybe it's a notion of fear. I have to recognize I have this fear. I have to work on myself. Number 2, oh, it is because of this raga. I have this raga of money, or raga of more clothes, or raga of whatever it is. Yeah? Recognize. Number 2 is my raga. Oh, that's what I need to work on. Steering yourself away from negativity. Yeah? Only you can work on yourself. Nobody can help you. So do this very sincerely. This homework I already gave you. Recognize these notions have led to this manifestation in my life. So notion is how I see life. Manifestation is how I experience it. Yeah? So now that sentence will make more sense. One experiences what one sees in it. Yeah? That's exactly what this means. Yeah? In the heart of the infinite consciousness, everything exists, and one experiences what one sees in it. Yeah? It's up to you. The ocean is full of everything. There are beautiful goldfish there. There are beautiful corals. Yeah? There are beautiful shells. Yeah? And there is a shark. Yeah? There are other huge shark-like fish that are coming to kill you. If you only look at the negativity, you will never be able to dive into this beautiful ocean of life and admire the corals. Yeah? You will never be able to admire the beauty or experience it. You will only experience bites from a shark. Why? Because that's all you think about. Yes, Shruti.
So at times when these notions come up, you're not even aware that you've had this notion. And you're like, ye kahan se aa gaya? I don't want to have this notion. So what do you do then?
That's exactly what I explained थोड़ी देर पहले कि instead when the thought comes, instead of hooking onto it, I realized chalo I hooked onto it also and started thinking. I started that internal dialogue and the awareness comes, oh, this is futile, this is silly, drop. Yeah, and what will help me drop is only knowledge and only meditation. There is nothing else. Yeah, or dissolving in bhakti, in satsang. There is no other shortcut. If you think watching a movie is going to take it away, no, it's not. Some scene in the movie will remind you of the same notion. Have you noticed this? Yeah? If you say, okay, I'll go for a swim or I'll go for a jog. When you go out there, somebody else might remind you of this notion. So, a material world or samsaric notion needs to be overridden by a notion of a higher level. So meditation, jnana and bhakti, these are the only higher level notions that can override a samsaric notion. Very clear? There is no other formula if you're looking for one. Yeah? Yes, you might take a long time to let go of a particular samsaric notion. Yeah? That depends on how strong my karma samskara is, no? The deeper that impression, the stronger that impression, the longer I will have to fight with this notion. Yeah? But one day it will go. Have that faith and keep working on it. Baki, if you're looking for one shortcut, there isn't one. Okay? The first part of the paragraph is just that everything is consciousness. It is dreamlike. Yeah? Whatever you imagine here, that manifests. Next paragraph. The dreamlike nature of thought form is realized only by the intense practice of yoga, not otherwise. Are we talking about yoga asanas? No. Otherwise, all the people in all the yoga studios around the world would have been enlightened. But it is not so. Yeah? Yoga is uniting with that self within. When I withdraw from the physical body, and then I withdraw from the subtle body and I am abiding in the causal body. That is yoga. Yoga, union. Yeah? Union with the self. Yeah? Pranayama and yoga asanas are just one method for somebody who's so lost in the body. For him, yoga and pranayama works to just go within. But it may or may not work for everyone. So remember, yoga is union, go within. He says that is the only way, by intense practice of yoga, not otherwise. So like you were asking me, no? When we are stuck in this notion, what to do? This samsaric notion is dreamlike. Yeah? And how a dream always pulls you. Yeah? I'll give you an example. If you are seeing some very beautiful dream and you're going to get that, whatever, $100,000 in that dream and you're just ready to get there and somebody wakes you up. Yeah? And how you're like, oh, I was going to get that. Have you noticed that pull? You might not say it, but there is this inside that tug, that very strong tug of come back into the dreamlike state. And that's where your frustration comes in, really. That inner tug creates a sensation of dislike for the person who woke you up from the dream. that tug is the tug of Maya. The tug of Maya is very strong. If it can happen to you in the dream, in the morning, when somebody wakes you up, just imagine how strong the tug of Maya is in this open-eyed life. Yeah? So keep at it. That notion, I know, is difficult to fight with, but keep at it. Yeah? One day, your meditation, your seva, your jnana will really override that. Yeah? It is by such practice that Lord Shiva and others perceive everything, everywhere, that which is in front of you, and at the same time apprehended by your mind, is not realized if there is misapprehension in such perception or in such existence. Very complicated way of saying, if I have been dreaming of a glass of water and it has manifested in front of me, it is very difficult for me to realize that this is dream. No, it is real. I can see it, I'm holding it, it is real. Whatever you say, this water is real. Boss, see, when I drink the water, it really quenches my thirst. Ha, it is real, boss. I'm telling you it is real. That's all what he said in that. Yeah, it is very difficult for you to recognize this Maya when you are in the Maya. Yeah. Only when such misapprehension does not exist can that object be known and realized. Got it? Because I am in this Maya, this glass of water is real for me. Yeah? The moment I am out of this Maya, the moment you wake up from your dream in the morning, you realize, oh, it was a dream, yaar. That glass of water was not there. It was a dream. The moment you wake up from it, then you realize that was unreal. Yeah? This state of waking up happens in meditation. Yeah? That is what is samadhi. Where you go within so deep, you wake up inside and you realize, oh, this body and this entire world is that dream. Yeah? And then you wake up. You realize that you are just having a human experience, a human dream. You are not really a human body. Yes? That awakening is the true waking up. Yeah? That is the meaning of only when such misapprehension does not exist can that object be known and realized. Whatever one wishes is obtained only when one's inner being is wholly and solely devoted to it. But when will this samadhi happen to you? Only if you are ready to die for it. Nothing less than that is going to work. You say, no, I want to hold on to this world also, this money, this power, this computer, this $1 million house, and I want samadhi. No. Does not work like that. Number one priority. I can give up everything to attain the highest. Then only can you attain it. And this glimpse is given to you in your life. Really, whatever you wish for manifests in life. Think about it. You wish to come to the US, you've landed up in the US. Yeah? You wished for a job here, a high-paying job, you've landed up with that job. Yeah? Then you wished for getting married to somebody in the US or bringing somebody to US, that has also manifested. Everything, whatever you think about manifests. Even if there is something that has not manifested, it has not manifested because you had fear of it not manifesting. That fear of it not manifesting was stronger than the desire for it to manifest. The predominant one takes over, the weaker one falls off. You cannot keep fear and desire together. That's where the inner dvandva happens. Yeah. So homework number 4. Which desires of yours are accompanied by fear? And can you attribute a percentage to them? Do you know which one is stronger? Is that desire very strong or is that fear very strong? And please don't tell me it's 50-50 because it's never 50-50. It's going to be 49 and 51 at least. He who is thus totally devoted to what is in front of him knows it perfectly. Yeah? Just like right now you're reading this Yoga Vasistha page, you're so devoted to this, the understanding is happening. You're actually seeing, oh yes, this notion really manifested into it. What Vasistha is saying is 100% true. And because I am lost in this Maya, I cannot see this as unreal. This really looks real. Whatever he's saying is true. So whatever you are devoted to in life, you know it perfectly. He who is totally devoted to an imaginary object knows it perfectly. Means what? This entire samsara is imaginary, is unreal. If you totally devote yourself even to just the understanding of this samsara, you will know it perfectly. When you are devoted to this samsara, you will understand this samsara. If you are devoted inside to the consciousness, you will understand the consciousness perfectly. Yeah, whatever you are devoted to, you will get that perfectly. If such one-pointed devotion is not there, then he destroys that object, is not aware of it. It was thus by such one-pointed devotion that the mendicant became Rudra and all the rest of it. Each one of them had his own world. Hence, until the Rudra consciousness was awakened in them, they were unaware of one another. It was in fact by the will of Rudra that they were thus veiled, that they became of different forms and nature. He's saying basically you go from one lifetime to the next, to the next, to the next, because you really didn't see one lifetime perfectly. You were not devoted to that samsaric experience 100%. Yeah? We don't really devote ourselves to this experience. Yeah? There's always a fear, there is always some hatred, there's always some anger, there's always some dislike, some or the other negativity comes between us and the complete experience of that which is in front of us. A person who is truthful and honest in his experience will experience that completely. For example, if you're going through a heartbreak, what do? You make an excuse to run away from the pain that you are experiencing inside. If you are going through a situation, a difficult situation at work, in the mind, I don't want to think about it because I don't like that fire when the thought of the boss or the colleague comes in. So I do not give myself 100% to that Agni. That means I am not experiencing this sansara in its entirety, in its completeness, in its wholeness. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Yeah? We are not devoted to our samsaric experiences. We want them, they come, then we run away. We want to experience something else. By the time that comes, I want to experience something else. And there's this constant kabaddi going on between you and the event or the situation or a person or a thing. Constant kabaddi. There is no complete absorption in samsara. There is no complete experience of samsara. When you completely devote yourself to the experience of this lifetime will be sufficient. You will not develop any more ragas and dveshas to come back into body again. Within one lifetime, you will be done with your lessons. Are you seeing what I'm saying? That is why the mendicant went from one lifetime to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, because he was not 100% devoted to even one of them. Yeah? This is said in a very short paragraph here. In the sutras, it is elaborated much more.
So, are you saying that if you have an unpleasant experience, you just experience through that, through all the emotions?
Absolutely.
Stay with it, which
Yes.
is kind of what we've been practicing sometimes, the Hariya meditation, or just stay with that, observe the sensations, that changes in the body, coming to notions, but you kind of don't hang on to them, but you let it pass through your body
Yes.
and
Yes.
let it flow through you.
Yes. So one very unfortunate thing I've noticed in our mentality that we've developed is if there is a death in the family, oh, don't cry. No, let the person cry. Let the person go through that grief and come out on the other side. When you're saying don't cry, you are suppressing that person's emotion. You think that person's emotion is not going to come out? After you're gone, it's going to come again. Like that, the example that I gave you about the death in the family, like that every day something of the other dies. Your job dies, your phone dies, your computer dies, you lose something. Every single day there is death in this world. It's a mrityu rupi samsara. And you do not face the mrityu rupi samsara as it is. You tend to take your mind away from it. You lose a little thing, you say, okay, forget it, you'll get a better thing in future. You take your mind away from it, so you did not experience this. One opportunity gone. Second thing comes, that also, even if it is a joyous opportunity, not just dukkha, joy also, I will not go deep into it. Immediately my mind will start thinking of another joy in future, or think of a similar joy in the past. Have you noticed? You will not even dissolve yourself in that joy that you're experiencing now. That is the meaning of not being devoted to this one particular life that I have. Same thing Buddha taught, but he taught it so simply. He says, be with what is. What is, is. If it's dukkha, I will be with it. I will burn in that agni. If it is sukha, I will be with it. I will dissolve in that water of that sukha. But neither do you dissolve completely, nor do you burn completely. You keep running. So your experience of that sukha, dukkha is incomplete. That remains as a seed, and it is going to come back to you in future. No option. So you have to keep coming back into body, again keep coming back into body, again keep coming back into body. And it goes on. At least this one lifetime I have. Yeah, this is all I know. Let me be devoted to every experience that comes Ekta's way. You take this oath for yourself. Homework number 5. any experience that comes my way, I will be 100% devoted to it. Good, theek hai, good. Bad, theek hai, bad. Experience it fully. No suppression of any emotion. Just go through it totally and come out on the other side. Where naturally even these emotions going up and down will totally give up on you. Because you have become total, in Hindi it's called paripakta. Paripakta, becoming totally ripe. After you are a ripe fruit, is there anything more to happen? Nothing remains. You're totally ripe. That tree gives up on the most ripe fruit. Correct? That fruit must drop off. Like that only these emotions and this roller coaster of joy, sorrow will give up on you one day. You can't say let that roller coaster give up on me, then I will dissolve into life. Doesn't work like that. You experience life, be devoted to life, be so 100% that you become raw, you become ripe. Yeah? And so ripe that you fall off. Then you will not come back into body again. Yeah? At least you won't come back because of your raga and dvesha. You can come back out of choice to help the others. Give them the secret formula how you got out. Maybe in some smart way that you deliver, somebody else gets it. Hai na? So come back, okay? It is by one pointed contemplation of may I become a celestial or may I become a learned man. And as the fruit of such contemplation, that one is enabled to become one or many or an ignoramus or a man of knowledge. It is possible by concentration and meditation to become a divinity or a human being and function accordingly. This is the main sutra. Yeah? That sutra up there on top of the page is that. He's saying whatever you decide now in this lifetime, that will be your next lifetime. If you develop that notion that I am moving on to a higher realm now, I'm done with this bhuloka, you will get a celestial next birth. You will move on higher. Yeah? Your notion will lead to that particular manifestation. But if you have a very strong attachment to another human body, what does that do? That raga is so strong, it's stronger than this desire to go to a celestial life, that this raga will overtake that. Yeah? So you recognize if there is a raga which can be an obstacle like that, even a dvesha can be an obstacle like that. Huh? If you hate somebody, especially sas bahu hatred. Yeah? Typical example, sas becomes the bahu of her bahu. Yeah? Mother-in-law will come back and become the daughter-in-law of the daughter-in-law in the next lifetime. Yeah? How much ever she wanted to go to the higher realms. So just by intention, it's not going to happen. I work on that notion, that which I want, manifestation of in the future. Last homework for you. You recognize what you want as your next birth. You decide. You make your own decision. Do you want to come back into human body? Then continue with your ragas and dveshas. You want a higher birth? Then you have to start working towards dropping these ragas and dveshas, especially towards other people. Because if that person does not go to a higher realm and becomes a human, you will have to become a human. He or she will pull you because you have that strong raga or strong dvesha. Got it? This is the most important homework. You decide, are you fed up of Bhuloka yet or not yet? If you're really fed up, fantastic. Start working on dropping these futile ragas and dveshas. Good? Last one was something, huh? Vasistha has never said something like this till now. Think about this week. And of course, send me that email. I'm sincerely waiting for that notion and manifestation answer of yours. Yeah. The more notions of yours that are related to one particular person, recognize that that is only going to be your manifestation for your next birth. Suppose you have, say, a list of 20 notions and 15 to 16 are just related to person A. You are going to be born again with that person. Yeah, so you recognize this. Just be aware of this. The more you are aware, the easier it is to let notions drop off. They drop off. You don't have to do anything. You just become aware, okay, this is a raga or this is a dvesha. And it's right now kicking. I can experience the sensation. It's happening inside. Yeah? Just observe. Okay? Keep doing your homework and I'll see you next week. Jai Gurudev.